Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing. Chloe's absent this week, but we are coming at you every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We are the show that is the rundown of what we're watching to hopefully give you something to watch for this weekend and the coming week. And last week, I teased Luca Guadagnino's Challengers. And, well, let's just dig right into it. Tashi, a former tennis prodigy turned coach, turned her husband into a champion. But to overcome a losing streak, he needs to face his ex-best friend and Tashi's ex-boyfriend. Starring Zendaya, Mike Faist, and Josh O'Connor, directed by Luca Guadagnino. And I mean, this movie is pure fire with fire performances from these three actors who just turn it up in every scene. Luca films this movie so beautifully. His cinematographer, if I can even say his name, Soyambu Mukdipram, who shot Suspiria and Call Me By Your Name, shoots this film, and it moves smoothly. It is like silky cinema, and I loved this movie. The more I unpacked it in like the 24 hours after I saw it, it just started to open up more and more, with an incredible third act. Like, I don't even want to give away, but I mean, it's clearly tennis related, but the imagination in how this film was shot, there is, with little spoiler, but a scene where you're literally the ball. You're the ball between these two players, and it is just a cinematic experience. Italian cinema in American movies. It just works on all levels, and this is kind of the reason why I'm so excited when it comes to Luca Guadagnino films, because he delivers every time. I would be totally remiss if I did not mention that this also has possibly the best movie score of the year, thanks to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, whose scores and albums in this degree almost move like extra Nine Inch Nails albums sometimes. And this one is one in particular which I kind of hold up as like just Trent Reznor mastery. And I mean, this constant collaborating between him and Atticus Ross is always turns up diamonds, and this is another one of those for sure. I think this is on my letterboxd as a 5 out of 5, so going big time for this one. And I'm in real danger now when it comes to the best films of 2024, because I have another one that I saw this week that adds to that. I already have Dune on that list. Civil War is on that list, and it just keeps growing. So like the end of the year is going to be really, really, really tough. Speaking of another greatest of 2024, let's just get it over with. The film is Love Lies Bleeding. Gym manager Lou falls for Jackie, a bodybuilder who is passing through town en route to a competition in Las Vegas, starring Kristen Stewart, Katie O'Brien, and Ed Harris. Written and directed by Rose Glass. This film is just incredible. Rose Glass proves again, with her co-writer, that she is one of the most interesting filmmakers on the A24 roster. Saint Maud is a film that absolutely blew me away. One of my favorites that year. And she outdid herself with Love Lies Bleeding. This film is gorgeous to look at. There's some flashback scenes with the some of my favorite, the deep reds. The look of everyone in this film, the mullets, Katie O'Brien really elevating a star status, the grotesque, kind of bulging and ripping sounds from the muscles in some of those scenes is just incredible. Like the workout scenes, the sound design. This movie is a 5 out of 5 again, and I'm unabashed about doing ones like this. And it makes me look like an absolute A24 fanboy. And I guess at the end of the day, I really am, because I can't think of one of the films that I hated when it comes to this studio. Them and Neon are they just have perfect records going. And maybe I enjoyed some more than others, but I haven't really disliked one yet. So I don't know. They still have no room to or I guess they have room to disappoint or no room to disappoint. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that allegory, but what am I missing on this film? Another great score, Clint Mansell, kind of diving into that Requiem for a Dream side of his film scoring, because I felt some connections in those two films. But the pulsing quality of some of his score in this, I really really loved. And yeah, I knew I was gonna like this film a lot when I saw the trailer for it, and then the reactions of my co-hosts and my other podcast after the credits, and this film screamed that it was a film for me. And yeah, it absolutely came through. It was a total film for me, big time. Also, I also have to bring up that it's beautifully shot. I did say it's beautifully shot, but the cinematographer on this, Ben Fordsman, and he did Saint Maud with Rose Glass, but he also did Out of Darkness earlier this year, which was the caveman horror film, which relies a lot on the cinematography to drive home some of the eerie slow burn horror in that film. So knocking it out of the park with two really great films that I saw this year. So Ben Forsman is on the list of great cinematographers for 2024, and I look forward to whatever he's going to shoot next. Oh, and also social media works, because Katie O'Brien learned about this, that they're doing a casting call for this role, through social media when a fan sent her a tweet about the casting call, and she got the job. So hopefully a lot more jobs in Katie's future, because like I said, she really elevates her star in this film, and with the help of the for me personally, now completely iconic K-Stu, Kristen Stewart, who is just in a consistent renaissance right now, and I'm enjoying everything that she's choosing to do. All right, let's get to a film that is definitely somebody reading my dream journal.
Linus took my journal. I did not.
From when I was a teenager. This film is called Boy Kills World. Fever dream action film that follows Boy, a deaf person with a vibrant imagination. When his family is murdered, he is trained by a mysterious shaman to repress his childish imagination and become an instrument of death. Starring Bill Skarsgård, written and directed by Moritz Moore. And this movie is absolutely insane, because Bill Skarsgård is basically turning in a mute performance, but H. John Benjamin is the voice that we hear, and he is the voice of Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers, Sterling Archer from Archer, Xander Cruz from Frisky Dingo, I believe. He is phenomenal. Like, he is just like a phenomenally great voice actor, and that coinciding with this film, this action film that also has a bit of world naivete when it comes to Bill Skarsgård's character, which really works with the voiceover. I mean, there's many points in this movie where I was laughing my ass off, like really simple, funny gags, but they just all landed with me. The gore and the action is just way, way over the top, but the fight choreography is amazing. So well done. And I mean, this cast around Bill Skarsgård is incredible. I mean, you've got Jessica Roth from both the Happy Death Day movies. Brett Gelman's in this one. Michelle Dockery, Charlotte Copley, Femke Janssen, Andrew Koji from Warrior, who gives a really hilarious performance in this movie that I thought was great. Isaiah Mustafa is in this. He's the Old Spice dude. His character is really, really funny because, of course, Bill Skarsgård being deaf and mute, he relies on lip reading. which doesn't exactly work out too well when it comes to Isaiah Mustafa's character, who I saw in a press junket interview got into a a verbal altercation with WWE superstar Austin Theory, which I'm wondering if they're playing an angle there, but that's also my wrestling side of fandom coming into the movie side. So I will refrain from going further down that path. But this is definitely not any sort of mainstream type of film. It is a kind of a childish and outlandish film for those of us that want to see some schlock and gore mixed with our John Wick, and it succeeds on that level. Like I enjoyed it for that, and like it's like a movie I would have made in my teens or my early 20s in my mind, 100%. So it succeeds in that for sure. So I give it a 4.5, or I sorry, not a 4.5. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Alrighty, so let's move, and I can't believe I'm doing this one, but let's move to a faith-based movie with Ordinary Angels. Inspired by the incredible true story of a hairdresser who single-handedly rallies an entire community to help a widowed father save the life of his critically ill young daughter. Starring Alan Ritchson and Hilary Swank, directed by John Gunn. And not James Gunn, John Gunn, who makes a lot of faith-based movies, and usually a film like this would not even hit my Blu-ray player, or wouldn't stay in my Blu-ray player for long as soon as the message became too heavy over the story. But fortunately, with Ordinary Angels, they decided to play for more of an audience getter and actually have the story elevated a lot more, and doing it with two pretty likable actors. Alan Ritchson is not exactly a strong actor. I'll say a lot of his emotional stuff and the crying stuff was a little undercooked, we'll say. I don't want to be mean, but it was just a little underselling. It didn't feel real like at all. And Hilary Swank is an actress that I'm hot and cold on. There's a bunch of stuff in her career that I've really enjoyed. There's a bunch of stuff also that I have not enjoyed. But it seems like even for both actors that they're really playing to their strengths in this film, which is good because the film does have the pitfalls of being kind of predictable, even though it's based on a true story, and being so sappy, like a hot warm hug that overstays its welcome sometimes. Like it just feels a little much. Like, okay, you can back off a little bit. The other thing I thought weird or like crazy, especially being a 90s kid and growing up with films like So I Married an Axe Murderer, is that Nancy Travis is now playing like Alan Ritchson's mom in a movie. And I just like, holy shit, where is the time gone? Like, because So I Married an Axe Murderer is 93. Yeah, I guess that holds up. That timeline holds up, but god damn, it just makes a guy feel old, you know? I think that the script and the story kind of is more accessible because that they had writers that I think are more accessible. Meg Tilly is one of the writers on this, a former actress and sister of Jennifer Tilly, Meg Tilly. From like Body Snatchers and stuff, is in this, or is not in this, wrote this. And she wrote this with Kelly Fremont Craig, who I really, really like as a writer, because Edge of 17 is a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. And Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, I thought was a really great adaptation as well. And really due to the work of Kelly and her direction, made that movie great. Maybe her direction could have made this movie better, but I think there still is a divisiveness at play in this film, and they still are trying to get you in the church a bit. Kingdom Pictures or whoever, whatever, they still want you to go to church. So at the end of the day, that's still kind of what it's about. So I mean, all in all, 2.5 out of 5 was kind of where I landed with it. A Canadian. I have two Canadian films, and one of them is actually kind of special, personally here. But the first one is a Canadian film, and it's called I Don't Know Who You Are. A gay musician spends his weekend trying to find the money for the HIV preventative treatment after being sexually assaulted by a stranger. Starring Mark Clennon, written and directed by M.H. Murray. And this is the debut from M.H. Murray, and it's produced through Telefilm Canada, and it's a pretty solid first film, and it's dealing in something very sensitive, sexual assault, especially sexual assault within the gay community, and the harsh reality that follows that one of any sexual assault. But then to be thrust in the situation that what you do for a living isn't something that earns health care in this country, and there isn't a universal health care that you can buy into in that sense. So it sends our main character here on a desperate weekend to find money, but also trying not to divulge the sensitive information of which he's still trying to bring himself to terms with. And what you get is a tension-filled story with something so sad and traumatic at its core. But it does leave you with some happiness as well, because I was like, this is getting really bleak. I really felt like this was just going to be one of those stunners where you get into the credits and you're just like, you've lost all the color of life. You're just done. And this one manages to stick a nice landing, and I was appreciative for that for sure. But it definitely gives a very sharp point to the chaos that surrounds a victim of these circumstances. And yeah, it's a harsh film, and I believe I gave it a 3 out of 5. So definitely a solid film. The next one is a Penticton film, which is very awesome because that is the town that I currently reside in, and it's called Wild Goat Surf. Set in a rundown Okanagan RV park during the summer of 2003, Goat, a surfing obsessed 12-year-old skater girl, navigates the unbridled, unstructured summer days of youth, dreaming about becoming a surfer. Starring Shaylin Martin, Leandro Geddes, and Caitlin Sponheimer, written and directed by Caitlin Sponheimer. So this one's kind of special to me because so when I'm recording this, I will be, but when this video comes out, it will already have happened. I am hosting the Q&A for the hometown premiere of this film at the Landmark Theater here in Penticton. And so in attendance will be Caitlin, who is the writer and director and producer, and she also stars in this film in a supporting role. Shaylin Martin, who is the lead of this film, and Leandro Geddes, who is supporting in this film, as well as producer Michael Johnson. So this is my first Q&A that I've ever done. So I'm kind of super nervous and super excited about it, because luckily I've been doing trivia, hosting trivia at Wings here in Penticton for the last 4 weeks, so it's getting me ready somewhat. So I should be calm and collected and good to go. And the good thing is the movie is actually pretty good. I'm a sucker for a coming of age film, and this one kind of does operate as that. It's a girl that it follows a girl that is set in her identity, but not the pieces around it. She still obviously has a preoccupation with her father, who is a surfer that is clearly not with her and her mother anymore. And her mother works multiple jobs, sublets the place that they're living in so that they stay in an RV park to make ends meet. So it's two very different experiences, all within Penticton, all on the side of Penticton that I actually used to live on. So the beach side that they're on, that's Skaha Lake, and I actually used to live a couple blocks away from there. So being Penticton centric for the last 5-6 years now, taking in this movie was really interesting because it just shows how photogenic and picturesque this town really is, and that it's not hard work to get these beautiful cinematic shots. So it's almost like the perfect location to film a show, a film like this, like a kind of a sun-kissed um, teen, like preteen Odyssey is kind of where this film goes, and it is, it's a growing of character, um, and I'm interested to get the director's thoughts on this because the film feels very um, introspective and autobiographical. So I'm wondering if, it makes you wonder how long this film has been at play for. But this one will be on Crave after its little release here in theaters for a Canada limited release, and then yeah, you can stream it, and it's a nice little watch. I enjoyed it a lot. All right, let's hit the TV bag. I've got a few shows. The first one being Jack Ryan, the complete series. This is all 4 seasons of the show. I'm still kind of cruising through the first season, but I really, really dug it. Carlton Cuse is one of the creators on it. He's one of the guys behind Lost. And Krasinski, I think, does the best Jack Ryan that I feel that we've got. Especially in a longer form. I know he can't really touch Harrison Ford, who might be the best, but that's cinematic. This one is a little different. I also really love that Jack Ryan is like kind of like is supposed to be a pencil pusher, but he's a CIA agent, so he's Jim Halpert but in the field. So I just always thought that was kind of funny, but I'm really pumped to go through this series that they released it both on Blu-ray and 4K. The 4K will be in my hands within a matter of days, thanks to Allied Vaughn and Movie Thing. But it's going to be cool to go through a show that was filmed in kind of that format. So I'm very excited about it. And Wendell Pierce is in it, and I've been a huge fan of his. I mean, we're going back to like Hackers. I loved him in Hackers, but Bunk in The Wire is like one of those characters that's like the ultimate in my opinion. Next up on Blu-ray now is Lawman Bass Reeves, and this is the latest Taylor Sheridan show, the last one on my list to catch up with. And I will say, after a Special Ops Lioness and now this Lawman Bass Reeves, the Taylor Sheridan burnout on television is real, absolutely real. Like I am still like I'm with these two shows. I'm kind of losing a little bit of interest, and I don't know if I need a second season of either. I believe Lioness is going to be getting a second season. I don't honestly know about Lawman Bass Reeves. Nothing on the packaging says that it's going to have a season 2. I'm not to the end of the series yet, so I don't know how it leaves off. It originally was conceived to be a spinoff of 1883, but now watching the show, there is absolutely no through line with either show being connected to each other. So they obviously scrapped that in during production. But I like David Oyelowo a lot. I like Barry Pepper because he is, Canadian legend, not only Canadian legend, but British Columbian legend, and not only a British Columbian legend, but a legend to those in Columbia River or Campbell River. If I can say the name right, Campbell River. That's where he's from. So they keep me watching the show, and my completionist to a fatalistic degree will keep me watching this show, but I am feeling like, I mean, even when Yellowstone comes back, like, am I going to be super pumped about it? Probably. Also, I have two Jeff Daniels shows. The first one is a new one on Netflix. It's brand new this week. It is called A Man in Full. It's based on a book by Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe was the author of books like Bonfire of the Vanities. And he's had a myriad of books that were adapted into movies. Diane Lane is in this one. Lucy Liu is in this one. And Kaylee Cuoco's husband, Tom Pelfrey's in this one. People may know him. He played Ben Laura Linney's brother on Ozark, and he's also Josh Brolin's son on Outer Range, which should have its second season coming out soon. I can't wait for that because I really enjoyed season one. But I mean, a really solid supporting cast. William Jackson Harper's in this one. He played Chidi on The Good Place. Chante Adams, who is in the League of Their Own Amazon series. Bill Camp, who is in Everything Good, and also he was in Sound of Freedom. So, you know. And Christian Clemenson, who I really liked in Boston Legal. Really liked him. He's so much fun. But I like Christian Clemenson a lot. And yeah, it was created by David E. Kelly, who's no slouch. Of course, Chicago Hope, Ally McBeal in the 90s. But more recently, he did The Undoing with Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman. And I think he did The Staircase with Toni Collette and Colin Firth. So, and also episodes were directed by Regina King, who is a fucking queen. I love Regina King. And Thomas Schlamme. And Thomas Schlamme should be known for one of the guys that brought you The West Wing or Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Two of the greatest shows of all time, and kind of guided under the wing of Aaron Sorkin there. I mean, Sports Night, it was him and Sorkin. And I believe Thomas Schlamme also did Parenthood. I want to say that he's one of the creators or showrunners of that one. But I really dig that series as well. So Man in Full, it has its draw. Basically, Jeff Daniels is playing a rich business mogul in Atlanta that is on his decline and trying to protect his dwindling cash from every vulture that's coming after it. And it's pretty solid after episode 1. The other Jeff Daniels show is American Rust. Season 2 is out now. I just started digging into season 1. Jeff Daniels plays a local police chief that is investigating a murder that is very close to the family of the new woman that he's dating. This is the series that Mara Tierney is in, plays his love interest in this. And it was created by Dan Futterman. And Dan Futterman is a damn good writer because he is the guy that wrote Capote, a film that won Philip Seymour Hoffman his only Academy Award. And also he wrote Foxcatcher, Bennett Miller's film about the Schultz brothers and John DuPont that is just an incredible film. So with Futterman's name on anything, I will watch it. You're best believe watching it. So this one really solid. The script is really great. They play into Maura Tierney's strength. They're playing to Jeff Daniels' strength, and you just really want to see the show unfold. So second season's out, I believe, in its entirety. It's all on Prime Video and definitely worth watching. I don't even want to spend too much time on this one at all, but I watched Good Times. It's the Netflix animated modern reboot of Good Times, of Scratching and Surviving Good Times. It's produced by oh boy, it's produced by Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors, Norman Lear, rest in peace, Norman Lear, and Seth MacFarlane. So it has that exact freaking archetype to it. It basically has the whole Peter, Lois, Meg, Chris, and Stewie dynamic to it, and it's really the animation is not great. It's hugging the line of just below being that R-rated comedy, and it's truly awful. It's 14% in Rotten Tomatoes. That's what the TV critics gave it. And I know that people don't want to listen to critics and want to go to the sound of their own drum. But believe me, 14%, this is a very earning of a 14%. Like, not good at all. And it joins a list of more problematic, terrible television in the animation department on Netflix. I'm looking at you, Mulligan, you piece of shit that has like part 2 coming out in like 2 weeks or something. God, just terrible stuff. Though I love JB Smoove. He is the lead voice in this one, and Yvette Nicole Brown is the lead voice in this one, and I love her from Community, and I don't know, the internet. She's super clap back on that, and I really appreciate that about her. But this movie is just not good. I mean, the series is just not good. Just not good. All right. Remember how I was saying how old I was when I was watching PBS Masterpiece Theater? What? I found another PBS Masterpiece original based on a true story. This one's called Mr. Bates and the Post Office. And it's basically based on a true story of the post office, basically through a second party computer system. We're swindling. I'd say I haven't gone far enough in the show to know if it was on purpose, but swindling people that were working post office jobs around the UK for them out of so much money by just having ridiculous overages that they were forced to pay back. Toby Jones is kind of the main person of this series, and I will watch anything that he does because he is such a great character actor and always never phones in any role. Like last week when I was talking about Tennant and the Tooch, Toby's in that group too. Tennant, Tooch, Toby. They're all just solid dudes, and they're all in the Marvel universe at some point. I don't know why I connected them all like that, but I just felt like in the moment I should. There's also a documentary that goes along with this masterpiece, for a four-part series that tells you the real story of how it all went down. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to checking that out when I'm done, because it's an interesting story, and especially to bilk money out of poor countryside Britain seems just so awful. So yeah. All right. So in the mailbox this week, there's 3 titles out this week. The first one, Ocean's Trilogy 4K. So Warner Brothers has grouped all 3 of the Ocean's trilogy. We're not going to bring in Ocean's 8 into this one. It doesn't get the treatment because it wasn't directed by Steven Soderbergh. I don't know if that was the prerequisite, but there are commentaries from Soderbergh on all 3 films as him and the writers from each film. But the best, I think the gold commentary is on the first film. You get a commentary with Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Andy Garcia. And that just seems like a good time to me. So I know I'm a Brad Pitt guy, and I like Matt Damon a lot, and actually Andy Garcia is pretty good. So I don't know. It's a 3-way win there. That one's solid, I think. So it's the Ocean's movies, arguably the 3 of the best heist movies in the last 40 years, and they're comedies as well, and they're really, really funny, and they still hold up. The character work is so great. Everybody's strengths are played to, and this might be some of the most memorable work in Steven Soderbergh's career. And that's a big thing to say because he has so many different corners of his career where he is doing different and weird and new stuff. So, but I don't know. As a movie guy that I am, I'm super pumped to have the Ocean's trilogy now in my possession. 2 that are out on Blu-ray this week. Madam Web is out. Madam Web. Her mother was killed while searching for spiders in the Amazon. Dakota Johnson, the piece of paper with bangs, acting through a terrible movie that has thousands of cuts, 2,700 cuts in this movie, which is more cuts than any movie should ever have. Even if your movie is Lord of the Rings length at 3.5 hours, why do you have 2,000 something cuts in your movie? Anyway, I reviewed this movie on February 16th. It was terrible. I gave it a 0.5 star out of 5 on Letterboxd. I savaged it. I did not feel bad. I tossed that wrapper away behind me and didn't look again until this Blu-ray came out. The last thing of the week in the Blu-ray bag is The Promised Land with Mads Mikkelsen, Dutch film, so well done. It's him teaming with the director of Riders of Justice for this film about a man's ambition to grow crops in land that is absolutely obtuse to it, and then the animosity he creates with the noblemen in the area. A really, really well done film. I saw it at VIFF 2023 just last year, and now it is on Blu-ray for you to watch at home, and you can see that title card that says Bastarden, because that's what it's called in Dutch, Danish. Yeah. All right, let's go with that. I reviewed it on February 9th, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So that brings us to the end of this episode of What the Hell Should I Watch? Teasing next week's episode, I am going to give the review of The Fall Guy, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Hannah Waddingham, written by Drew Pearce, directed by David Leitch. This movie has winner just written all over it already. Ryan Gosling is always great in comedy. If you don't believe me, you have not seen The Nice Guys or Barbie for that matter. And you should watch either or both of those films before you see The Fall Guy. And it also looks like a love letter to stuntmen, and I'm all about that. I think we need to put the focus on them, and maybe in next year's Academy Awards you can freaking award them for their work. Whoa, what a novel concept. All right, so that is it here. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads at The Stevel Dead. My website is stevestebbing.ca. You are probably now on YouTube watching this, and so it's Steve Stebbing. Please like and subscribe, because that always helps out. You can also find these on shiftheads.ca. You can find Chloe on Letterboxd at Honeybun Chloe, or just Chloe Stebbing. And if you need to ask any questions or give any comments, you can put them down here, especially for Chloe, because she is not on social media and will not see any message you just put out into the ether. She's not going to see that. So yeah, leave them all there. And well, my list is completely empty now, so I've got to go fill it up. So until then, bye-bye.